Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, July 28th meeting of the Seminole County Board of Adjustment. For those of you in the audience who have not attended one of our meetings before, please allow me to share with you our policies and procedures. As each item comes up, staff will introduce each item for consideration. If a matter is coming up that there's something you want to speak on, for or against, you need to fill out the form that's in the lobby. If you haven't, please do so before the item comes up. When you fill out the item, you can give it to the clerk on my left. The applicant's supporters will be heard first, and then those in opposition will be heard next. If it is necessary, the applicant will have an opportunity for rebuttal. Comments should be restricted to the information regarding the agenda item under consideration. We have no interest in homeowners disputes, whether people like people or don't like people, gossip. None of that's relevant. We're talking about the Seminole County Land Development Code tonight. If you're an individual, you will have 3 minutes for your comments. If you're here speaking on behalf of a group, a real group, you'll have 6 minutes to share your thoughts. As we start kind of moving along down the agenda, it's helpful if you kind of start moving towards the podium as we start getting to the matter about which you'd like to speak. And when you do get to the podium, please identify yourself by your name and your address. Each speaker should be given courteous and careful attention. We run a very polite meeting. And don't be surprised if we ask questions, because each member of this board can ask questions of staff or anybody who comes up to speak. Information presented at the public hearing will be kept as part of the public record. If you have items that are on digital devices, which can be projected by the camera over there, we ask that at some point after the meeting, you send a copy to staff. Once public comment has been heard, I will close the floor, and we will discuss and vote on the matter. Once a motion has been made and seconded, discussion is closed, we're done. Voters, during the voting, board members who do not cast an objecting vote are considered to have voted in support of the motion. And any decision of this board tonight, if you disagree with it, if you meet the legal definition of an aggrieved person, you can appeal this decision to the Board of County Commissioners, and after the meeting, staff can tell you how to go about doing that. So those are our rules, and with that, agenda item number 1, please.
The timer is not working, so if anybody needs to speak, staff will have to have a timer.
Perfect, thank you. I'll try to pay attention to. Try hard to pay attention. Ms. Gates.
Good evening. For the record, Angie Gates. Item number 1 is a request for a west side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 2 feet in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District for a shed in the Lloyd's Terrace First Edition subdivision located at 2090 Terrace Boulevard. The proposed shed is 70 square feet and will encroach 8 feet into the required west side yard setback. The lot located directly to the west of where the variance is being sought is owned by the Civic Association of West Lake Brantley, and the association has no objection to the applicant's request to install the shed in the proposed location. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? I have one question, and whomever thinks they have the answer can answer it. Is the Civic Association of Westlake Brantley basically a homeowners association for the area, or do they govern just this just the adjacent parcel, or?
It's a civic association.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. At this point, I can only ask staff. I apologize. I'm sure you're right, but I have to ask them. I'm sorry.
We'll defer to I thought it was just for the area, that it wasn't for the exact subdivision, but we can have the property owner clarify that.
All right, perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Having said that, is the applicant here? See, now, come on up, please. I know we might have a question or two. At least we know there's one. So if you come up to the podium, please, sir, and share with us your name and address.
I'm Dov Rosenberg, 2090 Terrace Boulevard.
Yes, sir. Before I ask my question, anything you'd like to add in addition to what staff has shared with us?
No, it's just a shed I got over at Costco. That I brought some a picture of where I'm actually going to put it, so it's easier to see, but you can kind of see over there, I don't know, east, west, whatever side it is, next to the park there. And it's just a community park, and the Civic Association was apparently, it's not like a homeowner association, they call it a civic association. They own that park there, and they also own the boat ramp that's in that same area. It's a voluntary association, you don't have to join there. Yeah, we did join it just because, we wanted to help the community a bit. It's just a small shed, and the fence is about 2 feet inside of my property line. So the property line is kind of actually on the park side. And so I'm trying to ask for 2 feet inside my fence line, just so I can get around it to mow and everything. I bought this thing in beginning of April, and everyone else, when I said, they said, why are you getting a building permit? And it's like, I'm just trying to do the right thing. And so far, it's cost me about $400 to do the right thing for a $1,400 shed. So, sometimes I question my sanity for doing these things. I don't know, any other questions or do you want to see the picture of where?
I'll ask the word. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for the applicant? I think we're satisfied. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen, your pleasure.
Move to accept.
We have a motion approved from Judge Bravo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Levant. All those in favor?
Mr. Chair, I want to ask staff one question.
Sure, please.
One of the things the applicant said was, that he wants the building is going to be 2 feet off the fence, and the fence is 2 feet off the property, but we're showing the variance written as 8 feet with am I missing the numbers here? I just want to make sure if we need to adjust the,
Their request, I'm sorry, hold on, let me get back to you.
if it's a 10-foot setback, then we're 4 feet off, we might be different. I just want to make sure we don't need to change the numbers.
The applicant can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 2 feet. His fence is 2 feet in, but his measurement is 2 feet. That's what he's requesting. So I took that as it would actually be a little further away from the side property line.
Okay, that's what I understood, but like I said,
I
we're...
have to request what he puts on the application.
Understand. So your recommendation, we don't need to change anything from...
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Satisfied? All right.
Satisfied.
Motion has been made to approve by Judge Bravo, seconded by Mr. Levant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy your shed. Your ordeal is finally over.
I just got to put it up where.
Okay, no more talking.
Item number 2 is a request for a south side street setback variance from 15 feet to 0 feet for a 6-foot privacy fence in the PD Plan Development District in the Red Ember North subdivision located at 3324 Old Somers Cove. The subject property is a corner lot and considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Old Somers Cove. The cedar-shaped court side is where the variance is being sought. In 2023, a permit was issued in error for the existing privacy fence. The applicant is requesting to add an additional 30 linear feet of fencing to what is already existing, encroaching 15 feet into the required side street setback. The proposed privacy fence will be 1 foot from the sidewalk and 15 feet from the edge of pavement. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The Red Ember Homeowners Association approved the extension of the additional 6-foot tall privacy fence, and 3 letters of support were received from surrounding neighbors. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. Sorry, I messed up my PowerPoint. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Evans?
Go ahead.
Sure. So the one piece about the 2023 permit that was issued in error. So just to sort of clarify, because I don't think that's come before me since I've been on this board, how does that work? We didn't take away that permit, right? The fence still stands in error, but is it like grandfathered in or?
It's basically legal non-conforming.
Right, okay. And so this new variance, to get it permitted properly if we approve it, would be in line effectively with the legal non-conforming permit that we issued in '23?
That is correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Larry, sorry.
I just want to clarify. So the applicant is asking for basically is a full variance, 0 foot to the property.
That is correct.
Building is 15, according to the survey, is 15 feet from base of building to the edge of the property. And if I'm looking at this right, the sidewalk is, well, basically on the property line because the markers are a nail and then the other marker up at the return is like back a walk is at the property line. So you had said that he was going to install the fence 1 foot inside the sidewalk, but that would mean 14 feet. I just want to be clear.
I can only put in my staff report what the applicant measures, but you are correct. That is what it states.
Okay, all right.
Because I personally do not go out and measure.
Understood. I was wondering if you had information that I didn't see on here, that's all.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I love having engineers because they can do math. This is great.
Well, you know what, some of us are PE challenged, so, you know, I'm only an engineer wannabe.
Any other questions for staff? Real quick one, Ms. Gates. The road here, Cedar Shake Court, is that within the neighborhood?
Yes.
Is that dedicated to the county already? Or at all? Or?
I don't know if it's public or private.
I'm catching you flat-footed, I know.
Okay, it's private.
It is private,
does-
private road, thank
Thank
you.
you, Kathy, yes. it
Gotcha.
is.
All right, is the applicant here? Sir, is there anything you'd like to add to what staff has shared?
Sure.
Okay. If you share with us, please, your name and address.
Will do. Daniel Lucas, wrong one. Daniel Lucas, 3324 Old Summers Cove, that was loud. So I unfortunately was not aware either that the variance was an error and approved for. So I'm just, again, I'm asking for this extension along the same line of the fence, 30 feet forward, is because I am the VP of the HOA in the community, and I want to follow things by the book. So we had installed a mini split that was also approved, and in order to avoid painting all of the trimmings, the side and everything like that, we have to cover it up with a fence or something along those lines. So that is the reason for the extension. And that's where I'm at right now. So if there's any questions about it, again, it was done with the build. It was a new build. It was done with the builder, and it was a requirement part of the pool installation. So first time I'm hearing it was an error.
Gotcha. Thanks, sir. Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Levant?
You stated that you're the vice president of the HOA. The packet says that the HOA approves of the extension. Is there anyone on the HOA besides yourself that approves of the extension?
So it's actually done by a separate committee. So we have an architectural committee that has nothing to do with the board. They make their own decisions. The only time the board gets involved is if something gets denied or pushed up to us, so we didn't really encounter that.
Okay.
So there's 3 committee members on that separate committee that approves any architectural approvals prior to getting to the board of directors.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
goes back to my question to staff. I'm not a fan of putting the fence right up against the sidewalk. And from all intents and purposes, the survey says the sidewalk is on the property line. So is there leniency here? I mean, can we give us a foot, so instead of a 15-foot, it's a 14-foot, so there's at least some separation there?
Absolutely, yeah. It actually tapers in some. It was not put on completely straight to the property line. It actually tapers in a bit, so maybe that's where the foot comes from as you get closer towards the gate, towards the edge of the home in the rear. So there's some leniency there, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I mean, for me, that would mean us, just the item before us as asking for a 15-foot setback, I'm looking for a 14-foot setback. That's what I'm...
Sure.
Okay, no problem with that. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
That answers my question.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Is there anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen.
Mr. Chair,
Sir.
make a motion to approve with one condition that we revise the variance from 15 feet to 0 to 14 feet to 0. Is that
We have a motion
Clear.
to approve, subject to it being a 14-foot. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Judge Bravo. Those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, did you want to discuss?
I just want to make sure the attorney sort of approved of that condition. I mean, it makes sense to me, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
He wasn't shaking his head, so I...
Yeah.
For the record, Robin McHugh, Assistant County Attorney. Yeah, within the board's discretion, I don't see any issue with that.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy. Go Knights. Number 3, please.
Item number 3 is a request for a south side street setback variance from 20, let me get on the right thing. From 25 feet to 0 feet for a 6-foot privacy fence in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District and the Breton Woods subdivision located at 271 Wood Lake Drive. The subject property is a corner lot considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house will face 271 Wood Lake Drive. The Orinal roadside is where the variance is being sought. The proposed privacy fence will be 6 feet in height and will encroach 25 feet into the required side street setback. The proposed privacy fence will be 3 feet from the sidewalk and 6 feet from the edge of pavement. 5 letters of support were received from surrounding neighbors, as well as 1 letter of objection. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility, and there have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Anything you'd like to share?
Yes.
Please come on down and just share with us your name and address.
Wrote a short statement here. Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Julian Maeso. This is Ines Negrin. We are the owners at 271 Wood Lake Drive, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'm here because of a hardship tied directly to the layout of our corner lot. As you know, corner properties like ours are treated as having 2 front yards, which significantly restricts our ability to build a standard 6-foot privacy fence, even in the one area that functions as our only backyard. Under current code, we're allowed to build a 4-foot fence at property line. But any fence taller than that, such as a typical 6-foot privacy fence, must be set back 5 feet from the property line unless this variance is granted. This puts us at a clear disadvantage compared to other homeowners who are not burdened with this double front yard designation. Importantly, this hardship was not self-created. The orientation of our home facing Wood Lake Drive was done in consultation with Seminole County engineers to ensure safe and direct access for emergency responders. We follow that guidance in good faith, with public safety in mind. Now, we're simply asking to be allowed the same use of our properties that others enjoy by placing that 6-foot privacy fence at property line. This type of variance has been granted previously for other corner lots in Seminole County facing the same limitations, and we believe our request is fully in line with that precedent. Visually, what we're proposing will be consistent with the look of Orinal Road directly across from us. I'm not sure you can see it over there. There is a long, continuous privacy wall that spans from Wymore Road all the way to Flame Avenue. Our proposed fence will line with and complement that existing rhythm, enhancing the appearance of the street rather than disrupting it. From the very beginning of our build, we work closely with Seminole County and follow all applicable codes. I personally made an active effort to reach out to as much neighbors and answer all their questions. Every decision we made has been thoughtful and responsible. We're now in the final stages of completing our home, and we simply wish
It's looking great.
to finish with the same level of privacy, safety, and design continuity that other homeowners already enjoy. Thank you.
Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you.
Mr.
Oh,
Chair, sorry.
Mr. Wright?
Again, I, as a board member here, I look at at requests for a variance, we usually try to grant the minimum necessary. You're asking for the maximum. I don't believe in putting the property, the fence on the property line. Just as I had asked the previous, can we bring this fence in 1 foot, at least to get it off the property line?
Of course.
Thank you. No,
Make a note here of what you're thinking. All right. Any other questions? Thank you. That was well done. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support? Yes, please, come on down. Oh, I'll get there. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. And seeing none, moving on to those in opposition, I do have a form here. Ms. Stump, is that you? Yes, it is. Please come on down. I have your form, but if you'd give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Cynthia Stump. My address is 249 Woodlake Drive. I've lived on Woodlake this September 49 years. Our community of Bretton Woods had covenants. We did not realize the covenants expired after so many years. Most of us in the neighborhood thought the covenants ran with the property. Anyway, in the covenants, it does say that we wish that, that there can be no split of property. Almost all the lots in the area are an acre to a half an acre, a little less. I have not met Mr. Mateo before. I am here speaking. I have 21 people that have signed the petition not to have it. We feel like it should be set back the 5 feet. We feel like the house, which we have a picture of, and it's the only house on this whole stretch that faces sideways. All the his parents' home faced and had a beautiful lot, and on the other side it was the same way, and both of those lots were 3/4 of an acre. I think you had a picture of that which shows the lots and the size of the lots, and you can see his is right there is approximately 1/4 of an acre. So he talks about it not being, it's not his fault that his lot's not big enough. But we feel like we actually went to his father and suggested that they please not split their lots. And at the time, we did not know the covenants had expired. And of course, we did not have a right to stop him, so he split the lot. Earlier, I would say in 1960, it was before I moved there, some of the other lots were split. They were acre lots, and one was an acre and a half lot. And those were the ones that were split, leaving the remainder all still at least a half an acre. So his is the only one in Bretton Woods that is 1/4 of an acre. And like I say, his parents split the lot, which was kind of them. And it is nice to have young people in the neighborhood. We don't have a lot of young people. However, we feel like as a neighborhood, it distracts from what the neighborhood looks like with the block wall so close to the sidewalk. We preferred, if he would, like some people in the neighborhood have done, which was use like a black iron fence and with hedges to fit the lot adjacent to it, which I believe you have a letter from Mr. Webster with his wife's signature also that is against this concrete block wall, putting it so close to the sidewalk. We think, although it is said that it doesn't prevent traffic, we feel like you still can't see as well as you could when they had just a fence up there. So we really ask that you make this setback and not give the variance at this time. We feel like they're putting the lap pool in the back, so that does
Ms. Stump, I
restrict.
apologize. We're at about 3.5 minutes. If you
Okay,
could
sorry.
wrap up, please.
Do you have any questions?
Gentlemen, questions? One question. I understand and I have respect for your concerns about the demise of your homeowners association and the lot split and things like that. But do I hear you correctly that as to the fence, getting beyond aesthetics, which we don't have a control over,
Right.
your concern is not to say, your just only concern is rather than it being what's requested, but to be 5 feet back?
Yes,
Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome.
Is there anyone else in the audience to speak in opposition? Would the applicant like a minute or two to respond? You don't have to.
As I mentioned in my opening statement, I understand the concern that my house might have a different orientation as all the houses that are on Orinal Street. But it is important to rectify that decision was made in council with the engineering department of Seminole County. I did not choose to face Woodlake. They told me I had to provide the safest route and access to the property in order for first responders to access. So, yeah.
How many children are we talking about?
I'm sorry?
How many children are we talking about?
I apologize.
Children?
He said you needed to have the fence to block the windows because of being able to observe
Correct.
children. How many children are we talking? You don't know how many children you have?
Unfortunately, sir, we're currently trying to very
Oh,
hard.
so you don't have any children?
We
at the
will
moment.
have children, sir.
Pardon?
Not yet.
Not yet, but we're counting in God that we will.
Okay, well, so the question is no children at the moment.
No children at the moment. I do-
Okay, that's the answer. Secondly, if the fence is moved to the location that the neighbor recommended, what does that do in terms of use of your yard?
It does provide more backyard, and in all fairness, there is another property in the same street that does take advantage of the benefits of having the fence in the property line. So what I'm requesting, it is already,
That wasn't my question. My question is, if we don't grant your request, but we recommend we follow the suggestion, what does that do to the use of your property in the yard?
it does provide more yard, therefore it would
So
also,
if we move the fence in differently than what you want, it would give you more yard?
no, if it goes in, it will give me less. If we keep it
Well,
at
then-
property line, it would give me more of a yard, which as a resale purpose, it does add value to the property.
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you, sir. Before we move to a vote, quick question for staff. Ms. Stump had shared with us a petition, and one of the concerns on there was a concern about the fence blocking visibility. Ms. Gates, did you say that traffic was okay with that?
Yeah, if there's a couple things that I could address, because I asked for the petition prior to the meeting and I didn't get it, so that I could
wanna see it now?
read, so that I could research it. I would like to state that, just for clarity, the minimum lot size requirement in that subdivision for the R1AA zoning district, which has always been in place since 1957 when this plat was recorded, is 11,700 square feet. That's the minimum requirement. And what the applicant is referring to with traffic engineering as far as the placement of the home, traffic engineering did not want them because Orinal is a major thoroughfare. They do not want the driveway on Orinal. So that made that Orinal their side street. So that's what he's referring to, is that. I just wanted to clarify that. He probably wasn't exactly sure how to explain it, but that's what they do when it's a thoroughfare, making Woodlake his main road. But if he were able to face Orinal, Woodlake would have been a side street. let's see.
And that's helpful, thank you.
It says the fence will block visibility of traffic on Orinal Road, making it less safe for drivers, and bicyclists. Like you asked, traffic engineering has approved it for site visibility. The privacy can be achieved by hedges and plantings. Those are also treated like fences. So anything above 4 feet would essentially be a fence.
And would have to meet that same setback requirement?
Yes. They state that there's approximately 400 feet between the two access points to the subdivision, and that he is requesting for 133 feet. That is not true. He's requesting almost less than 100 feet of linear feet on Orinal. And that was really it. I wanted to see it prior to, but I never got a copy of it, so.
And that's, what you've shared is helpful, thank you. Judge, did you have a question?
I did. I got the impression from the application that there was a concern regarding safety of children, and there are no children. And at the moment, that seems to be the main concern for putting the fence in a different location.
Are you saying it assumes facts, not in evidence?
Well, he says it's for the safety of children, but there are no children, according to his answer, so.
All right, we can take that into account.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Mr. Evans, do you have one?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking at the survey and I'm trying to find how deep is that, because it's the side yard that we're putting the fence on, right? So how deep is that from the house to the property line, the zero setback?
Okay, can you ask that question?
So I see there's a number 2 right under the 6-foot fence in the red marking, and I assume that's a number for how wide that stretches there. It looks like the homeowner might actually know the answer. Is he able to come back up and answer that? I want to know how
Where it says under
deep.
the fence, it's because that's the 25-foot setback, and
Oh, okay.
the word
Okay.
fence is
So it's 25
just
feet
covering it.
deep between.
That's the setback for the house.
So he doesn't-
Without a variance, he can place the fence, a 6-foot privacy fence, at 5 feet from the property line.
So then if he's putting 100 linear feet on Orinal, and it's a 25-foot, and he's now going to be so it'd be 20 by 100, if we did not approve, right, the side yard there?
Yeah, the lot is 90 and a half feet by 133. Is that what you're asking?
So it's a 25-foot setback from the house, and if we did
On
the
the side
5
street.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we did the 5-foot instead of the 0, he's still looking at 20 feet by 100 feet.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't understanding.
For the area of what
It's been a
yard
long
would be
day.
there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's trying. I was trying to get that into my head.
My apologies, yes, you're right.
Okay. That's my question for staff.
Any other questions for staff? I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask, since we have a lot of thoughts on this board, I'm going to ask for a motion, and then we can have a chat.
Okay.
Motion
And then
to
we can vote.
deny.
We have a motion to deny from Judge Bravo. Having said that, your thoughts, sir?
Based on the application and the information received here, is in contradiction. And it isn't needed for the purpose of children, because there are no children. There may be children in the future, and maybe they can apply again in the future, but at the moment, there's no reason to go beyond the parameters of the requirements.
Any other thoughts on the judge's motion?
I think this is really a difficult one for us, because, one, they do have a unique feature.
We'll discuss it. We'll come back to that.
They do have a unique feature. I mean, they are facing the side yard because of, public safety and traffic engineering issues, which make total sense. But at the same time, we've always erred on the side of harmony within the subdivisions. And it is clear that the subdivision may potentially be upset, and if 21 people sign their name to say, I don't want it, That does seem to be harmony of a 40-person subdivision. But we, so I mean, that's really the difficult piece for me. Now, if they did go the 5 foot, they don't need the variance at all, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So actually, I think where I stand, I mean, I'm pro harmony of the neighborhood, and I think a 2,000 square foot side yard instead of a 25 is, you know, a reasonable accommodation for the harmony of the neighborhood.
Any other thoughts?
I would tend to agree with the harmony of the neighborhood, but I also would call into question the petition itself, since some of the things on the petition Ms. Gates has stated is incorrect. So that makes me wonder, was the signing of the petition for those incorrect statements, or are the neighbors still in highly disagreement? So that's also the discussion as well.
I think that's an excellent point, and my thoughts on it are that, very similar to what Mr. Levant's saying, is that I think the folks in opposition, and I have, Judge, you know I love you and I have respect for your positions, but I feel like the folks in opposition are, if we grilled them all, they'd be perhaps more grumpy about the situation, as opposed to this fence necessarily. And again, I love and respect you, Judge, but I think I would be voting no with an anticipation that there's a possibility of perhaps bringing a motion to have it approved a little bit further away from the sidewalk, but I could be wrong on that. It could die for lack of motion.
I'm not in disagreement with that.
Yeah, and those are my thoughts. And so unless someone else has something to say, I'm going to ask if there's a second to the judge's motion. Seeing none, it dies for lack of a second. Is there a new motion?
Mr. Chair,
Sir?
motion to approve.
As written?
No,
Okay.
I'd like to, you know, when I talk, and again, I apologize, I'm, you know, going on a diatribe here, but I already asked the applicant about moving it in.
Roll, baby, roll.
Moving it, you know, in, obviously, there's a, you know, they can put it in at 5 foot. I, you know, asked him if he was acceptable of a foot, just getting it off the property line. There may be benefit of just saying, can we split the difference and ask the owner if it's 2.5 feet is good, and
We don't need their approval. We can do whatever we want.
understood, but, you know,
But harmony.
he's the applicant, I would prefer to ask him, you
You're
know.
going to be polite and respectful.
Yes, thank you. That's
It's a new day.
that's why I'm the vice chair and you're the chair. I'm a hugger, you're a puncher. But that would, you know, again, that would be my motion. If I need to make it with a definitive
And
number,
what's the distance? Yeah, we'll need a number for the,
you know, again, I would say split the difference at 2.5 feet and call it a day.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve, subject to the distance being changed to 2.5 feet. Am I correct? From Mr. Wright, is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Evans. Does anyone want to discuss that, or happy going to a vote?
Can we ask the applicant, I mean, if he's okay with that? I mean,
You
not
okay
that we
with that?
need
I
their
mean,
permission.
again,
He's nodding his head.
we're going to make a decision,
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
nodding
one
his
way or
head,
another,
yes.
so.
All right, so all those in favor of Mr. Wright's motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, we have one no from Judge Bravo. It is approved. Enjoy.
Way to hold your ground, Judge.
To 2.5 feet.
Judge is a
are we
shy
done?
All right,
2.5 feet.
sorry, what's next?
Okay, let me just write that down, please.
Yes.
Because, you
Let
know,
me move
tomorrow's
ahead
a
of my
long
agenda
time away
here.
from now and I'll forget.
Who's second?
For those following at home, we're moving on to number 4.
Okay, item number 4 is a request for a north side yard setback. Variance from 10 feet to 5 feet, and 2, a roof height variance from 14 feet to 16 feet, and 3, an accessory structure size variance from 1,096 square feet to 2,592 square feet for a detached storage building in the A1 Agricultural District in the Pickett Downs Unit 4 subdivision located at 2038 Warner Drive. The proposed storage building will be 2,592 square feet and 16 feet in height, exceeding the maximum allowable square feet by 1,496 square feet, and will also exceed the height of the principal dwelling by 2 feet. The structure will be used for personal use only. One letter of support was received from the neighbor located at 2058 Warner Drive, and the property owner applied for a building permit number 2416578, and at that time, it was determined that 3 variance requests would be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, Mr. Wright.
Mr. Chair, yeah, I just want to make a disclosure. I live in the Pickett Downs Unit 4 subdivision. I know the applicants, they're my neighbors. I live a street away, so I'm not adjacent. And, you know, we socialize at times. So she had told me in advance of our meeting that, you know, she was going to get a variance. I informed her that I was on this board and I couldn't really talk about it. But I did make a recommendation to them to canvass their neighbors just for, you know, support or opposition. I did notify staff and Mr. McHugh. They agreed with me that I didn't have a conflict. I don't have any financial gain or, you know, profit to make from this. So I'm not in a conflict at this point, so I'll continue.
Yeah, and thank you. And for the folks in the audience and on TV, Mr. McHugh is with the county attorney's office, and you agree?
Yes, I agree. In my opinion, Mr. Wright's participation in voting in this matter doesn't present a conflict under Chapter 112.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. No questions from staff before we move on? All right, there's the applicant here. Anything you'd like to add to what staff has shared? And if you'd please share with us your name and address.
My name is Angela Spigner. Address is 2038 Warner Drive, Chuliota. We're just applying for a pole barn, an open structure in the neighborhood. I know in prior years, I know the law has changed recently, which is why we're requesting the additional variances, especially from the size. We have canvassed our neighbors, so the folks addressed directly across from us, behind us, right to the right side where the building will be constructed, and Caddy Corner have all approved of that. None of them seem to have any issues of it.
As I'm looking at the aerial that's behind you there, your affected neighbor to the right who supports you, is that still a vacant lot?
It is.
The
Yeah,
vacant lot approves.
he just
Okay.
purchased the lot, and I did get the variance signed from him and notarized.
Is it going to be an open-sided pole barn?
It is,
Gotcha. Just traditional pole barn?
correct.
Gotcha. Gentlemen, any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone here to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none, anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen, your pleasure.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Levon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Evans. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Judge, are you in opposition?
No, in favor.
Okay. Enjoy your barn.
Item number 5 is a request for 1, a rear yard setback variance from 25 feet to 15 feet, and 2, a west side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 8 feet for a shed in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District, and the St. John's River Estates subdivision located at 1821 Beacon Drive. The proposed shed will be 160 square feet and will encroach 10 feet into the required rear yard setback. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none. Is the applicant here or his agent? Hi there. Anything you want to share, sir? I'm sorry, I saw those gentlemen come down. I thought they were your agent. My mistake.
No,
People say that.
Well, thank you for your time. My name's Terry Green. I live at 1821 Beacon. I'm just trying to build a shed like person number 1 was doing, only mine's going to be a hurricane-proof shed. Well, not hurricane-proof, but 185-mile-an-hour wind-resistant shed. It's approximately the same square footage as the shed it's going to be next to. The existing shed is just for water treatment equipment that was there when I bought the property, so there's no room for storage of yard equipment, you know, lawnmower, blower, weed whacker, all that stuff. So right now that stuff's just kind of laying around. As you can see from the aerial picture, anything that's going to be 25 feet from the water line has already got all these beautiful mature palm trees and that one gum tree that's under the word site. You can't see the gum, but all the rest of these beautiful palm trees that the previous owners planted. So no matter what I do, I'm going to need a variance to be able to put a shed anywhere. and I wanted to put it next to the existing shed, because that way it's tucked out of the way, and it doesn't interfere with anyone's line of sight, which would just be me and my neighbor. She's 92 years old next month, and she's already asked me, because she got a letter about this coming up, and because I've been talking to her about the shed for months. I bought the property and moved in a few months ago, and she said, show me exactly where the shed is, and I showed her. And she says, I'm only concerned about my line of sight. I want to be able to see the bridge and see, I've been looking at it for 20 years, and it's not going to interfere with her line of sight, because the shed's still going to be right where there's already a tree that she can't see through anyhow. And the only other option is to cut down either the gum tree or one or two of these beautiful palm trees in order to, if I don't get a variance, to put the shed in. So with your indulgence, I'd like an approval. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, sorry, I
Mr. Wright.
apologize. I was chasing a butterfly. I just want to be clear, you said you want to put the shed next to the other shed?
It's near the other shed.
No, you said next, and that's why I want to clarify. You said next, is it near? Because on our site plan, it's not, it's near the shed.
Yeah,
It's not
near.
next to it.
It leaves just enough room where I put it to get the lawnmower through to continue to cut the grass. There's about a 3-foot gap. Plus the little garden that's right around the existing shed, so it's maybe 5 feet from corner to corner.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none, anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Mr. Evans. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from the judge. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy your shed, sir.
Thank you.
Number 5. 6. Boy, look at that, we're moving.
Item number 6 is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 26.5 feet for a screen room addition in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District in the English Estates Unit 1 subdivision located at 2145 Falmouth Road. The proposed screen room addition will be 321 square feet and will encroach 3.5 feet into the required rear yard setback. A building permit was applied for by the contractor, BP 255279, and at that time, it was determined that a setback variance would be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? There we go. Would you like to speak, ma'am, or your contractor, or both? Get your money's worth. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for your time tonight. I'm Joseph Fort, working with Florida Pool Enclosures to represent 2145 Falmouth Road in Maitland for the request of 3.5 feet in lieu of the 30-foot, putting us at 26.5 feet to accommodate the screen room on the property. I think the case was presented wonderfully, and if there's any questions or concerns from you guys, I'm here for that.
Gentlemen, any questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Anyone here to speak in support of this matter? Anyone here to speak in opposition? All right, gentlemen.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Levant. Is there a second?
Second?
Second from Mr. Evans. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy. Number 7.
Thank you, Mary Robinson with Development Services. For the record, this is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 10 feet for a shed in the R1 single-family dwelling zoning district. The subject property is in the Huffman and Fuel subdivision at 1530 Care Point. The applicant wishes to construct a shed that's approximately 230 square feet, which that was the reason for the 30-foot setback requirement, because he was not under 200 square feet. There have not been any previous variances for the subject property. There was one email that came in today in opposition to the request, and her concern was the height, which it's 12 feet in height. but she had a concern about the 12 feet in height. And that concludes my presentation.
And to the point you just made, Ms. Robinson, the height is not, the issue of height is not before us tonight.
Correct, it's the setback.
Gotcha, thank you,
If
ma'am.
it was under 200 square feet, the rear yard setback would be 10 feet.
Thank you, that's helpful. Is the applicant here? Anything you'd like to add, ma'am? You don't have to if you don't want to. Easy enough. Unless, gentlemen, you have a question for the applicant? Got off easy. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in support? Is there anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen.
Move to approve.
Motion approved from the judge. I'm sorry, second from Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy.
Thank you.
Number 8.
Yeah, thank you. This is a request for a west side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 7 2/10 feet for a screen enclosure and for an existing single-family residence. And 2, an east side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 7.5 feet for the existing single-family residence in the R1AA subdivision. The subject property is in the Druid Hills Park subdivision at 308 Croton Drive. The initial request was just for a setback for the screen enclosure, and staff identified that the existing home did not meet the side yard setback of 10 feet. And at the time when the home was built, the Land Development Code side yard setbacks were 7.5. And so at that time, it did meet the 7.5 side yard setback since it was built in the 1960s. So back to the screen enclosure is approximately 22 feet by 43 feet. The existing single-family dwelling is 2,060 feet. I have 3 letters of support received from adjacent neighbors. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. And based on the findings of the requested variance, it is in the public interest, and failure to grant the variance would be an unnecessary and undue hardship. Staff is recommending approval of this variance's request for the home and the screen enclosure.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, that concludes my presentation.
These habits, you know. Gentlemen, any questions for staff?
Is there a pool involved?
Ms. Robinson? is there a
Yes.
pool? Okay.
Okay, so the improvement then is for additional protection for the pool. Am I correct? Where's our speaker?
Yes.
Oh, I got this thing in the way, I can't tell where I'm talking. Okay.
Does that answer your question, Jeff? Okay.
It does, because and I read the part about the concerns for the child, so it's an additional protection, even though it's over the limits, yeah. Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Anything y'all would like to add? Please, come on down.
I wrote it, so I'm going to read it.
As you should, you went through that trouble.
She did a great job, but.
Just share with us your name and address, please.
My name is Dana Brownlee, and I live at 308 Croton Drive, Maitland, Florida. Thank you for allowing us to speak to you today. We are requesting, don't quote me on inches, but she said it correctly. We are requesting a variance for our pool screen to have a setback of 7.2 feet instead of the current code of 10 feet. When designing our pool, our contractor apparently had out-of-date codes and designed, and we approved everything based on what they gave us. And based on that, our pool and our screen would have been completely fine and within the setback. It wasn't until our pool was already dug and the shell was shot that they submitted a permit application for the screen, and then that's when that application was denied because of the current code. So our pool is in place, but that's why the screen is the only thing that we're applying for a variance. It was brought to my attention that our home is out of code. So if we are able to get that approved, that's great. So that in case anything should happen and we have to rebuild, we can rebuild as it is. It's okay with us if we don't, though. The main priority is the screen. We were extremely disappointed, obviously, to hear about the code, that our contractors were incorrect about the code for several reasons. Number one, we have 4 children, 2 of which have quite a reaction to mosquito bites, and a pool screen is vital to their enjoyment of the outside. Number 2, safety. We have a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence surrounding our backyard with 2 gates, both of which are padlocked. We take security very seriously, and we feel that a pool screen is an extra layer of safety for our family and for our neighbors. Number 3, sun protection. It varies, but we feel like a screen protects us from significant UV rays. And then lastly, aesthetically, and also for safety, if we do not get approved, the screen would be just inches off the side of our pool, which doesn't feel safe to me, and it would also be inches off the side of our sliding glass door. So with that said, we hope you see the value and protection that we see in a pool screen, and pray that we may be given an opportunity to have a backyard sanctuary 10 years in the making. We humbly thank you for your time and greatly appreciate you guys taking this into consideration.
Well done. Gentlemen, any questions?
So is there already a fence around the
Yes.
property? So this is secondary?
Yes.
But would be actually primary because it now
Yes.
protects the pool directly. I got you.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Anyone here to speak in support of the matter? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen, your pleasure.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Mr. Wright, seconded by Judge Bravo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy. Number 9.
Number 9 is a request for a west side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 8 1/2 feet, and I would like to correct that I made a slight error in rounding up when I should have rounded down to 8 feet instead of 8 1/2, for a single-family dwelling in the RM1 single-family mobile home zoning district. This is at 145 Magnolia Drive. The subject property is located in the Mobile Manor subdivision and is zoned RM. The property owner is represented by Rebuild Florida program. This program assists property owners with a rehabilitation or a replacement home due to impacts of Hurricane Ian. The variance is being requested is to construct a new dwelling on the subject lot. The existing mobile home dwelling was storm damaged beyond repair and cannot be reconstructed. The Rebuild Florida program has specific models available to the participant. The authorized representative has stated that the proposed dwelling is the most appropriate model for this property. The proposed dwelling will encroach 1.67 feet into the 10-foot side yard setback. There have not been any prior variances for the property. And although this property is not located in a target area, the Mobile Manor subdivision is a location that promotes affordable housing. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Anything you'd like to share in addition to what staff had said? Perfect. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve from Mr. Evans. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you for what y'all do. Let's see here. Number 10.
Thank you. This is a request for a south side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 4 feet for an addition of a shed in the A1 agricultural zoning classification. The subject property is located on the east side of Grand Avenue and is a lakefront property on Garden Lake located at 1425 Grand Road. The applicant is proposing to enclose existing walls that are attached to the single-family home to create a storage area. A review of the property appraiser's records and building records did not reveal any permits for the wall. The home was constructed in the 1980s. The A1 zoning side yard setback requirements were, at that time, also 10 feet. There haven't been any prior variances for the subject property. The site is a large 1.5 acre lot, and there is ample space to construct another storage building. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Anything y'all would like to add? Come on down. You just share with us your name and address, please.
Chad and Rachel Brown, 1425 Grand Road. We are just wanting to continue with what was started with what we bought. It would help us out a lot to have a storage unit. She did mention, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, that there is more space, but there really isn't, because we have, what is it called?
Utility easements.
Thank you. So technically, we really don't have the space to do it.
We did provide pictures of the walls. Just showing that they're attached to the house. They are also on a 1983 survey that we provided. So the house was built in 1980, more than likely they were built with it, but those are the walls attached to the house. And there's kind of old metal rods sticking up, so it looks like it may have been an enclosed structure at one point.
Or they're going to continue going up with it, one or the other. But we'd like to access that. It would make life a lot easier for us. We're actually outgrowing all our space and have no storage. Our attic is completely full.
Just to make it a usable space rather than just a walled area too. That's the 1995 survey showing it as well. And then the other one is the 1983, yeah.
Yep, that's it. So it's been there for a very long time. Thank you. We're going to pictures.
And really, it's that angled point that hits the...
It's a very small piece that actually is within the variance. When you go down the wall, we're actually back into normal. We're away from the variance. It's just literally about 3 feet of the wall that is right at the variance point. That's over at 4 feet.
Anything else?
That's it.
Gentlemen, questions for the applicant?
I have two.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Levon?
I apologize if you've already addressed this. When did you purchase your home?
2012.
And for clarity, the wall was already there when you purchased your home?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Evans, do you have a question?
Yes. So I guess I'm like just struggling to like conceptualize this, and so I saw the walls, and that actually elucidated a lot. So you already have these like concrete walls, right? And so you're just looking to extend the walls up and like put a roof on to call it a shed?
Yeah, slope roof.
Okay.
And just to store a lot of our stuff that we have.
Okay, and it's on, if I'm looking at the overhead survey, yeah, so right there. So it is on the south side of the property, sort of where that tree line is, right?
Correct.
All right, and so
Big giant forest.
you have 1.5 acres, and I assume, that's going a long way, so you've got almost half an acre, 3/4 an acre before the road on Grand, right? Where the shed's gonna be? Like
I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
The shed isn't anywhere near the road, right?
No, it's at our
because
house.
it's next to your house. Okay, all right.
The road is about 800 feet.
Right,
Correct.
that's what I
Give or
thought.
take a few.
Okay, that helped me conceptualize. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Any other questions?
Did the out-of-state investors get notice?
We did the one that owns the property.
Your southerly neighbors.
Yes, well, we notified the property manager, who is...
We tried for 6 months. They never responded. The property manager actually sent an email copying him, the owner, saying that he's in support and suggesting that the property owner support this move. But he never responded. He's out of the country. And we did give it 6 months. We started contacting them in January.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Is there anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, your pleasure, gentlemen.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Levon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Judge Bravo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Number 11.
Number 11, Yes, this is a request for an accessory structure size variance from 984 square feet to 1,500 square feet in the R1A Single Family Zoning District. The subject property is located in the Lock Arbor Phillips subdivision at 237 Lakeview Drive. The detached garage will be 1,500 square feet, approximately 30 feet by 50 feet, exceeding the permitted size by 412 square feet. There are 3 letters in your packet from neighbors supporting the variance. There have not been any prior variances on the subject property. And that concludes my presentation.
Perfect, thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Is there anything you all would like to add to what staff had said? Easy enough. Anyone here to speak in support of this matter? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Well, come on down, sir. Share with us your name and address, please. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jason Walker. I live at 845 North Country Club Road. So the picture that you see, can you go back to the one you showed originally with kind of the drawing? Yeah, that one. So that 745 feet by 22 feet, that's a private drive. And so it looks like the orientation of the building and the concrete pad, if I'm reading it correctly, would be, so they would access through my private road into their building. So I would propose that they have a longer driveway going from the Lakeview Drive road back to the building. Otherwise, they're using basically a private drive as an access way to get back to the building.
Staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe the application, even if approved, would give them the right to trespass on private property. They would still have to access through their property. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So nothing that's before even if we approved everything that they're asking for, it does nothing to give anyone rights to go onto your property.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that being said, are you still in opposition? If I can promise you that at least not legally, they can't go on your property.
Yeah, voicing concern, I guess, based on what I got in the mail, just to.
It's a valid concern.
Maybe it's a learning process for myself, because, maybe there's another follow-on meeting to address, potential.
There's nothing that'll go before this board that would in any way affect your property, unless you actually applied for something.
Yeah, because some of the concerns are, it's a gravel driveway, and so, the first concern is, there's going to be some pretty heavy equipment that's coming back on that drive, presumably to put in the structure.
Not on your property.
There's water, presumably on my property, yeah.
No, sir.
Okay, so they have to, the builder has to go strictly on their property from.
Is that how you, the applicants, understand it? Or put it this way, is it your promise that you're not going on his property?
No, I love to speak with here.
I'll tell you what, let's do this. When the gentleman's finished, and you speak, for your time, and then we'll do a rebuttal, and they can address your concern.
I have a concern about, usage, during the construction period, because it's going to be some pretty heavy equipment, right? Concrete trucks, and I had a pool put in my home in 2012, and they didn't drive past a certain point, and they had to funnel the concrete about 150 feet, because it would have crossed over a water line. So I'm concerned that same water line kind of goes adjacent to my property, or my driveway. I kind of have a 200-foot by 200-foot property, and then I have a 15 feet by 800 feet drive, and that's kind of what you see is that.
Can you, if you,
the long green part
can you
out
point to us? Okay, so below you, that long green strip?
So yeah, this is my house right here.
Okay, right below that one, okay.
Yeah, this is, and then
Gotcha.
this piece right here, this is all just kind of one,
So they'd have to cross your property line and then the property line of your northern neighbor before getting to you.
Well, assuming the entry point is off of Country Club Road, the green part is my neighbor, this part is me, but it's indecipherable, basically. You know, it's kind of a 20-foot wide
Yeah.
gravel driveway with sand. So presumably the construction trucks would enter through here and go back here and then, you know, put the necessary footers and foundation, et cetera. I doubt they would go through Lakeview Drive and come around the house, because I think there's only like, from what I can tell here, there's only a 17-foot wide pathway to what would be the east of the home. And then, I'm not sure, there's no measurements to the west of the home.
Okay.
So that's my concern.
Well, let's address that. What I'd like to do, and if the board will indulge me, and if you guys have a better idea, I'm all ears, is maybe we'll have a chat with staff on that point, and then we can ask in a rebuttal for the applicant to say something, because that's a valid concern. And I have respect for that. And whether it's from the county attorney's office or from our planning staff, is there anything in this application that in any way gives the applicant rights to go on to somebody else's property? And I'll open it up to whomever.
For the record, Assistant County Attorney Robbie McHugh. So I did not interpret it that way. Obviously, suffice it to say, there would be logistical issues if this were approved. But if this board were to approve the variance, it wouldn't confer any special easement right for purposes of constructing the shed. That would be a private agreement between the parties to work out those details.
Ms. Hamill.
Kathy Hamill, Development Services. We can also put a condition of approval to give the extra insurance that there would be no access onto the private drive as a condition of the variance.
It's good thinking. Any other comments from staff? With the applicants, and we'll go to the floor for rebuttal. If you'd like to come up and, just for purposes of rebuttal, just this one concern, please.
I have one question for...
Oh, Mr. Wright, please.
Sorry, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know that we don't have the full property appraiser's information in front of us. We've got a snip of the lot configuration that's adjacent to it. My experience is most of those times when those lots are drawn like that, they're, flag lots where they give them a very small access point to get into their property. I have a couple questions based on that graphic. Jillian, can you put up that,
This picture?
the support opposition picture? That one, yeah. While it doesn't really say it on the survey, on the sketch, it's indicating that there's a 22-foot ingress-egress easement that covers, and I can't tell from the aerial, but it covers, that lot and the speaker that we just had it, south of 875. I'm just wondering if that 22-foot ingress-egress easement is dedicated just to their properties, number one. And it looks like there's along the bottom of, along the green thin strip that goes from Country Club Estates Road, it looks like there's 3 lots that are below the first 3 houses. There's, what I would consider to be a lot line. There's also one on the property adjacent to 231, looks like, where the green stops. And I'm quoting my experience is that the only reason that green line would have an ingress-egress easement is to provide access to those 4 lots. But I'm making, educated judgment. And an ingress-egress easement does not automatically give rights to that person who's adjacent to it. So I'm concerned that we are, talking about something that we may not have legal control over, that's all.
Concern that excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Concern I have is that considering the limitation of the ingress and egress is how you're going to enforce it and how are they not going to violate it? Who's going to monitor it? What's going to happen if a situation arises? Questions come that you're now going on my property and just your own because of the limitations.
Well, I mean, do we know, and Mr. McHugh may be about to tell us this, I don't think we know to who is the grantor and the grantee of that easement. We don't know whose benefit, so I don't know if it's fair to have that easement affect our thinking when we don't know either way it goes. But having said that, Mr. McHugh.
No, that basically what I was going to say. I mean, my initial opinion is coming from the assumption that that is privately held. Now, we would ultimately, before we drafted any kind of approval verbiage conditioned on accessing that, we would need to see the easement instrument itself. To your point, see, okay, what does it say? You know, what rights are granted to what parties? Just so we're not overstepping something unwittingly.
And I'm not sure of our abilities, and appreciation of what you said, and what you just said, is if we don't have that easement, we don't know who granted it, to what extent that it's granted, how we can address this today.
Yeah, whether it's just pure ease back, just pure come and go access, whether construction falls into it, we just don't know.
Yeah, and then, of course, it puts him in a situation where he's now got to come down the street and across his property to get to where he wants to do his work, as opposed to using the ingress where there's questionable admission.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we ask the applicants how they plan to have this accessed? And we'll have that on the record. And why don't y'all come on up and share with us your thoughts on that?
I want to say thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And Jason, thank you for coming out. And unfortunately, I didn't know that you were part of that owner. I went to Chris, the other neighbor that's in, what's his number?
875.
Yeah, and I went to Chris because when we moved in, we were told that that was his street, that it was his road. And I got permission from Chris, and I swear, hand on a Bible, I had no clue that you were part owner of that road. Did not realize.
My apologies, just so for us, so what we're looking at there, that's one road that they each have a half interest in.
Yes.
It's not two separate roads.
I did not know that.
Gotcha, that's good, we didn't know that.
It's two separate, it's platted as two separate pieces of property.
But is it driven like one road?
It's driven like one road.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
not to, because the information you're talking about, he needs to come up so it's recorded, so don't have a conversation with the audience.
Well, I think, are we done? With your,
Well, I just don't want, sorry.
You're right, going forward,
We
I
don't
shouldn't do
need
that. You're
conversation in the audience, that's all.
No, you're absolutely right, thank you.
Sorry,
I should have done that.
And I apologize, I didn't give our name and address.
And Ms. Hamill wanted to share something, and
I'm going to.
we're gonna bring this thing back here. Here we go. All right.
This is not an easement, that's part of their property, it's a driveway. His property, to be able to have access, has 20-foot property that goes along for him to have access. The neighbor to the south has, so it's not an easement, it's their driveway.
Understood, thank you. I will tell you, in our package, somebody's calling it a 22-foot easement, ingress, egress
It just
easement.
survey said that.
It's whose property?
But it's owned by, so they're using that one access, but it's part of their property. An easement usually will not show up because it's a private agreement between new neighbors. But on this one, you can see that it goes all the way down to the road as with his neighbor to the south. So it's actually his private property. There could be
Correct.
an agreement between him and the other neighbor to utilize it as one driveway, but it is his private property.
For the purposes of the ingress, egress, they can share the 11 feet on either side, one driveway, and that gives both of them the inherent
No,
right.
they both have 20-foot, both of their properties has 20-foot frontage along the roadway. You're not able to create a parcel unless you have a minimum of 20 feet along the
Okay.
public
So-
road
so
right-of-way.
That's what's confusing about
It
the
is.
picture in the survey.
It is.
Regardless, it probably, because he said it's a common driveway, they both have the ability to use either side of their property as ingress, egress. Those two people.
Exactly.
Anybody adjacent to it would not, but like I said, the only thing that stood out to me is it appears on our property appraiser map, there's 4 parcels, that's the only access they have, and they may also have ingress, egress rights.
Where
That's
the
what,
Where are the 4 parcels
But
that
if
you
you look,
see?
again, if you look at Country Club Drive and Lakeview, the intersection,
You want a pointer?
I don't want the little finger point. There's 3 houses
Right here?
right from the intersection on the south side of Lake Drive.
Those are part of their parcels. Those are the same, it's the same property owner. All of the ones
Okay,
that have the
and that-
house own the parcel.
I mean, I obviously don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at why is there an ingress egress easement
Yeah.
other than the 2 shared property owners?
Yeah, the only people who are accessing that driveway, because this is his driveway back to his house, and then you can see the line, the driveway going back to his neighbor's house to the south. His property is actually the same as neighbor next door. For some reason, the properties have been split. I don't know why.
That's what I was questioning, what those 3 split, well, 4, because there's one over there adjacent to 231.
That is really interesting.
When we bought our house, it was a separate parcel,
Yeah,
and then they included it when we purchased it.
Right.
And we had to make it as one.
Okay.
And why they were like that, we have
I don't
no
know.
clue.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And
I
I'll
just-
just add also, we don't know how old that easement
Yeah,
is. Like, it might predate things, it might be new, we don't know. Yeah.
I know the adjacent property owner, when he spoke, he, obviously they concerned about construction, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. When we have landlocked, I don't want to call it landlocked, when we have difficult to access the backyard lots for all intents and purposes, how do they do it with a pool contractor? When the pool contractor has to have temporary machines to go in there and move, earth or whatnot, pour concrete? Is there something that the county does to allow access
The
beyond?
county doesn't do it. It would be a private agreement
Private
between the
agreement.
property owners.
Okay, that,
And to me,
I
it would
did
be,
not know.
this
so-
would be also the same agreement that they would have to have. The county would not be involved.
Okay, I mean, I was just recognizing he concerned about when the thing would get installed, should it get approved, but, what would be the mechanism, so. You'll need to get a working agreement.
Yeah. And I didn't state our name, John Obramsky, Dolly Park, my fiance. We're at 237 Lakeview Drive. And as I spoke to Chris Clayton, who is Jason's neighbor right behind us, his part of the road is the 22-foot and Jason's is the other. And I told Chris, I said, we will help condition the road. I will put gravel, we'll put whatever we need to do. I have friends that are in the asphalt business, and they were going to put asphalt millings. And I don't know if he ever told you that. I don't know if he ever stated that with you, but that's what we plan on doing, just to help out. Because he told me right out, it's a private road, and I didn't, like I said, I thought it was Chris's. I had no clue that you guys shared that.
Question, and I'm sorry, we can't have a back and forth
I'm
during
sorry.
this. And what we asked you to do in the rebuttal is come up and just address the issue of
Okay.
access. So when you build this shed, what is your anticipation for how you will access the back of your property?
It was through their property, through Chris Clayton.
What if your neighbors say, we changed our mind, no, you must exit through Lakeview?
It'd be really hard. Just because we have, my son and I both, we race cars, and it's just a storage unit for all our equipment, my cars, her car, whatever, just
So I guess
anything.
what we want you all to be aware of is that if we approve this, and that's not a guarantee, but
Right.
if we approve this, you are not given any rights.
100%.
It could be that you could be stuck in a situation of accessing it purely from Lakeview.
Right.
And we just want you all to be aware of that.
We would have to cut down some trees.
Yeah.
We would have to cut down some trees.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Evans,
I
that's
don't
a question for me
have a
right there.
question, I have discussion.
For amongst us or for the
Yes,
applicant?
amongst us.
All right, we'll close the floor now. Thank you all. I think, let's just chat then before we even talk about a motion.
So I guess the discussion that I have is, ingress, egress, and I say this respectfully to both the opposition and our applicant, as far as this board is concerned, respectfully, like, who cares about the ingress, egress? Like, we're here, do we approve the variance? Whether or not the granted variance is usable for the applicant is beyond our board, I thought. So, I mean, and again, to me, I just didn't understand the correlation and the much to do, to me, like about nothing. We either approve the variance and he can use it or not. If Chris or Jason or the man on the moon says, no, you can't use it anymore, like that's, as far as we're concerned, who cares?
Counterpoint to what you're saying is I don't care how small something is, after 56 years in the legal business, I will guarantee you, this little nugget can become a boulder.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
unless we set it in place correctly to begin with, he's got problems in the future, taking his race cars across his own lawn.
And I see that, but I mean, that's a civil matter in the future for some other judge, not an arbitration board like this.
And I think Mr. McHugh could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's just, our job is not to decide whether what they're applying for is advisable or not.
Right.
Just whether it's something we're going to permit pursuant to our considerations and the land development code.
And that's really why I wanted to bring it up, simply because like we spent so much time on it, but I don't know if it really affects whether, how we view yes or no decisions. Because again, whether he can use the variance or not isn't important to us. It's really, do we feel it fits the harmony and fits the code? And I don't know, that's kind of how I saw this last discussion.
But I feel glad that we spent the time to address the neighbor's concern.
Of course, I mean, it's a valid concern, and I do think the applicant should speak with Mr. Jason here, but, it's outside of our parameter.
Judge, you had a comment?
Yeah, my concern is, obviously, we've got protocol, but then how many times we've gone outside the protocol, and if we see something that potentially could cause us a concern, that's sufficient for us to say, if not no, not now.
Or put a condition on the approval.
Or just something more, yeah. Because we obviously have pointed out several problems, because we have another property owner who's not here, who could object, who could shut everything down. Bingo, he's back going across his front yard. And so maybe it might be worth his time in future, I'm thinking out loud, to get the ducks in a row, get the commitments from people that, yeah, this is okay, and we're not gonna interfere with you using it to go in and out, whatever and so forth.
Sure.
So as much as possible, because there's always gonna be the potential for a problem always exists, that's life. But the fact is that as much as you can put in front of you, with everybody cooperating, the better off you are. Because you're not gonna own the property forever, and neither are they. And
We just moved in.
No, I'm sorry, the floor's closed. Well, Judge, and as I know you've seen a bunch of times, is someone could have said yes yesterday, but
Yeah.
today,
Today.
yeah, so that's a fair point.
you
Mr.
didn't tell
Evans,
me it was
Yeah.
gonna be clouded.
And I mean, to kind of piggyback on Judge's comment, I mean, we do have the option, one, to continue this item to the end, to let the applicant and the opposition speak in the back. We could also, have the applicant decide to continue it himself, so he can maybe get that private access agreement recorded on county.
No, we can't do that.
Okay.
No,
so-
that wouldn't fly. That would not be enforceable.
Not for us, but for
No,
their
for
own.
them, it wouldn't be
Okay,
enforceable
all
for
right.
them either.
That's fine, I'm not a lawyer, so.
That's why you're a nice person.
But that's kind of, I mean, where I see it, like it.
I would think in terms of, and recommend, not passing something with potential conditions, but saying, let's continue this to get the items squared away so that we can do it once and be done with it.
Then we would need to
Levant, one more
stipulate.
lawyer's thoughts? You got, I don't want to exclude you from the conversation.
No. If whatever the motion we pass tonight, I do believe since that is a contention, whether it's relevant or not relevant, we probably should specifically state in the motion that this does not affect any property line or property access. It's specifically for the variance, so that someone who looks back down the line can know that we only had the intention for the variance.
Mr. Wright, just last thoughts?
I mean, I'm not seeing any issues. Nothing's causing me pause, and even, drilling back into the package while you guys were talking was, as the applicant had said, he's already gotten for the purposes of our, it's been notarized and documented, it hasn't necessarily been filed, but it's an easement, it's a request to be able to use that easement, that 22-foot easement on the adjacent property. So I kind of feel he's done his due diligence, so.
All right, so having said that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve as applied for by Mr. Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Evans. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, it passes with one nay. Those of us who were quiet said yes. One no vote from Judge Bravo. It passes. Enjoy. And we do strongly recommend you chat with your neighbors. Yes. Absolutely.
And if I may,
Judge,
I'm
little wisdom here?
I'm thinking and speaking out loud. You may have your variance, but you may have something that you can't do anything with because you end up with a problem getting in and out over there. So that was my thought, to say, let's back off and give you a chance to fix that, but now you're on your own. Good luck.
Thank you. Number 12.
Number 12 is 699 Sharice Place. It is a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 13 feet for an addition in the Lake Sylvan Code subdivision. The addition will be 510 square feet, which will be 17 by 30, and it'll approach 17 feet into the rear yard setback. The rear yard setback actually abuts a subdivision wall, and then go beyond that is Lake Markham Drive. So there is not an abutting neighbor behind them. They do have approval of their Lake Sylvan Cove Homeowners Association, and 2 of the abutting neighbors have approved their request. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Anything y'all would like to add to what staff had shared? Come on down.
Everyone else. I'll be quick though.
Oh, we got lots of questions for you now.
Yeah, people always say that, but. Just share with us your name and address, please, sir.
Challenge accepted.
My name is Derek Morris. My address is 699 Cherice Place in Sanford. No, she did a phenomenal job explaining it. The only thing I'd like to add is, which I didn't see it as appropriate, but we are also building a pool. I think the pool setback is 10 feet. So the addition would basically leave a little bit of room. The pool would extend a little bit past the addition, leaving room for a gate to the backyard, what's left of our backyard. The addition is to accommodate my future father-in-law. So that's one of the reasons why we're adding that on. So that's about it.
Very nice. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? You got it easy. Thank you, sir. Anyone in the audience to speak in support of the applicant? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from the vice chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Levant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Enjoy.
Item number 13 is 824 Fern Drive. This is a request for a front yard setback variance from 50 feet to 0 feet for columns, gates, and a fence in the A1 Agricultural District. This is known as the Dells Pioneer Acres. It is a subdivision within the A1 zoning classification. The applicant did receive a code violation for construction of the fence, gate, and the entrance wall within the Fern right-of-way. She has since removed any encroachment into the Fern Drive right-of-way, but now these improvements are located on the property line, and so we have the variance from the 50 feet to the 0 feet. A letter of support has been received from 9 of the neighbors, and we do have 2 emails that have been provided to the Board of Opposition, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none?
I do.
Sorry.
In reviewing it, isn't this consistent with other properties in the area?
Yes, there are other properties that are along Fern Drive that have the same
configuration.
features in the front yard.
Okay.
What has happened in our A1 zoning classification, we did changes to our LDC. Prior to this last year, we did not require permits for fences in the A1 zoning classification, nor did we have the setback regulations for the fences that we have now. So since then, our code has been updated, and they do require permits and variances. So that's why there are existing ones along Fern Drive, is because we didn't require permits or setbacks when those were constructed.
Any other questions for staff? Our applicant is queued up. Hello.
Good evening. Judge, we miss you in the courthouse, by the way, just so you know. Attorney Justin Clark here from Ms. Grice, and in fact, she did install this fence and the gate in 2020. She's a single lady, and she had 2 robberies, so it was really all about safety for her, and it was before the law was changed when she installed them. And it looks beautiful, and it's in direct harmony with everyone else in the neighborhood, by the way. It's exactly like everyone else has. They have the gates and the fences, just like Ms. Grice has.
Well, that was easy. Any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am, did you want to share something also, or? Yeah, top-notch lawyer did a good job. There we go. Absolutely, thank you. Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none, I know we've got some folks opposed, and I do have a, excuse me, a form from Mr. Fritz. Would you like to come on down, sir?
Hi there, my name's Ryan Fritz. I'm at 768 Fern Drive. I'm the adjacent property owner, even though our numbers are so far apart. She's 824 and I'm 768. Ms. Grice has constructed a total of 4 fences on her property. All 4 fences were installed without permit from Seminole County. 3 of the fences were placed over the property line on adjacent property without the property owner's permissions. The front fence was placed within an easement of Fern Drive and not set back. And because of that, it blocks my view of oncoming traffic when I try to pull out of my driveway. I've got a teenager with a learner's permit, and he had the most trouble so far. He's almost been hit. On August of '24, she began constructing a fence on the south side of her property, which is parallels my driveway. And this fence was actually constructed on my property, and I gave her a property survey to show that she was putting it on my fence, or on my property. So this front fence, which was constructed within the setback, was then extended southward to the new fence that was placed on my property, and therefore that makes an access of my property I own 23 feet across at the street. The fence now limits me down to 16 feet. The fire marshal says I need 20 feet to access my property in case of an emergency, and the fence only has 16 feet of access for me to get into my property. So not only the oncoming traffic issue, but it's also a safety issue with respect to if there is a medical emergency or a fire at my property.
Mr. Fritz, I appreciate and I have respect for what you're saying. In my opinion, and others might disagree, that I don't think boundary disputes are properly something before this board. So moving beyond that, I saw it as your only concern is a blocked view issue.
Correct.
Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, other than the fact that it restricts my property access.
Which is arguable at this
Yeah.
point, but I follow what you're saying.
Yes.
Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Fritz? Yeah, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir. So you did mention that you spoke to the fire marshal, and they said you need at least 20. And did they come out to your property at any time?
They did not. I constructed a gate, which is further back up towards my actual house, because the aerial shot there, this is
Madam
my
Clerk,
driveway.
can you, okay, so you're the directly southerly neighbor there?
Yeah, so my house sits back here, and so there's a house here and a house there.
Madam Clerk, can you pull back to the shot that shows all the, yeah, there we go. Can you point now, sir? Where you are?
He's the, okay.
Where are we at?
So
Hatched area is the site.
Right.
This shaded area, one right here. So this is my driveway coming off here, and I'm in the back.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
So what was the question? I forget.
So, I mean, you did speak to the fire marshal, and they advised you need 20. You measured that you only have 16 feet?
16 feet from the other neighbor's fence on the other side of my driveway, which is on the property line. Across to her new fence is 16 feet.
16.
And
Now, did you, once you were notified of that, because I mean, that was
I was notified of the
September that?
20-foot requirement prior to her fence being constructed, because I I constructed a fence way back up towards my actual house, and it was denied because it was a 15-foot opening, so I had to make it a 20-foot rolling gate.
Gotcha.
And when she constructed the fence, I brought it to her attention immediately that she was giving me only a 16-foot access. She said that she was constructing the fence on an easement. She labeled my property, I guess, as an easement and not my property, although I gave her my survey, so she should know that that's my property that she's putting the fence on.
So,
But I own 23 feet, so
Sure.
how am I only having 16
Sure, and-
feet of
and-
access to get to my property?
And I can't speak to any of that, of course, right? I'm trying to hear your objection in terms of like a fire marshal safety issue. Did you relate any of that information to the building department or file that with the fire department, or do you have anything to show that fire marshal has?
I filed that with Ruth, I believe her name was. Yeah, I filed that with the building department.
Did our building department look into
As soon
anything,
as, back
or-
in September of 2024, when the fences were all tagged unpermitted.
Sure.
That's when she obtained that information, and they also have my property survey on file.
So he said he related to the building department. Does our county have any information on that? Okay. Okay, that's all I had for my line
She
of
also,
questioning.
after construction of the fence, when the fence was labeled unpermitted, she tried to apply for the permit with a hand-drawn survey, and she had in her handwriting, she put that I approved the fence to be on my property, which I did not. So she submitted false documentation to Seminole County in regards to getting the permit.
Thank you, sir. We're past our time obligation. Thank you.
Any questions, or?
No, sir, we're fine. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience to speak in opposition to this matter? Seeing none, I imagine the applicant in rebuttal has a few thoughts.
Absolutely. First of all, I did speak to him.
Please give us your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Sorry, Debbie Grice, 824 Fern Drive, Longwood, Florida, 32779. I did speak to him. He purchased the house recently. I think it's only been about 3 or 4 years. And the access road, one of the reasons I put up the aluminum fence on the side is because, like the other gentleman, this situation you were speaking of, he had his driveway asphalted and his contractors went through my yard, hit my well and busted my pipes, and we had a geyser out there. So that was one of the reasons. I did speak to him about that, and I had drawn out as far as getting the permit, which I have here.
If I might, what I'd like us to do is, as I'd said in my beginning, we normally don't get into.
Oh, okay. He said, she said.
Well, not he said, she said, but just things that kind of get beyond the scope of what's being applied
Okay.
for. What I think we'd rather hear is you address the issue of why what you're applying for is accurate.
Okay, it is accurate. I have 4 surveys. Due to the constant frivolous complaints that are being placed to Seminole County on my property and my property line, I've paid for 4 surveys since 2024 until now, which are all the same. I have a 1989 survey from when I bought my house in 2006. They all are in alignment. His isn't. I never did see his survey, but as far as the access and visibility of him pulling out of his driveway, he has 2 major palm trees that he does not maintain in order for him to get out and get around his own mailbox. My fence sits back further than anyone else's on our street, as a matter of fact, the other neighbor on the right side. So there's no way that it blocks his visibility. As far as the fences being permitted, I have every permit, every inspector sign off, every receipt for every permit, so they've all been permitted. At one time, when you did look online, you didn't see my permits. When I went to the special magistrate and they referred me inside to speak to someone about why I couldn't see it online, all of a sudden that day they contacted me and said, oh, your permits are showing now. So he must not have checked the site. Okay, I'm sorry. But all my permits were applied for, everything was paid, and everything was there.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant?
Oh, and I just wanted to let you know, in a rebuttal to the other side of the property line, in order, when I had my inspection done, I put the fence up in the back, and the inspector came out, I believe his name was Nick. He approved the right side along his driveway. He went to approve the back and the side, and he said, I need to see the marker. And I said, well, I have to get you a ladder. And he said, what? I said, well, my marker is over there. So the neighbor on my left side, the Rices, who I believe you have an email from as well, their fence was, their unpermitted fence was on my property 20 feet. I was cited for her fence in 2020, February of 2020, as me putting up a fence that was unpermitted when it was the Rice's fence. So I didn't even know the fence was on my property 20 feet. So the inspectors who brought it to my attention, he then filed a code violation on the Rices, and that's what's going on here. It's a lot of retaliation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am. With that, we'll close the floor. Ms. Hamill, and I apologize if you said this and I missed it, has traffic opined on this application?
Yes, they went out when the building inspector went out to verify any safety issues related to, I apologize, I didn't include that in the presentation. I didn't do it as part of the variance, I did it as part of the code violation.
And what was their opinion on?
No safety issues.
No safety issues, gotcha. Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any other thoughts or questions of staff before I close the floor?
Yeah, I just want to make one clarifying point on that. So the building inspector, when they looked for safety issues, also included ingress, egress for like emergency vehicles?
No, they do not.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, the floor is closed. Why don't we do this? Why don't we have someone propose a motion for discussion purposes? We'll get a motion in a second, and then we'll have a chat. Is there a motion?
So moved.
What is moved, Judge?
To approve.
A motion to approve. Is there a second? I'm sorry. A second for Mr. Levant. Okay, who'd like to speak first, if anyone?
I've got one point. I would be open to just an amendment that, approve so long as we do hear the opposition's concern about safety vehicles. I mean, that's, to me, a legitimate concern. As long as we could get maybe a fire marshal to confirm it as a contingency for the approval.
Yeah, but that's, and staff in county attorney's office especially can correct me if I'm on this, that's not within their bailiwick to go out there and confirm the four corners. Am I correct in thinking that?
For the fire department?
Right.
To verify? Yes, the fire department isn't going to verify the control points of the property lines.
Good thought, it's just not, they're not surveyors. That's not what they do. And, any other thoughts? My thought on this is, when I start hearing people talk about boundary disputes and things, that's a lawyer employment opportunity out there, and that's where that needs to be hashed out. And there are quiet title actions, there are all kinds of things people can do, and I just don't. You gentlemen vote, of course, how you think, but that strikes me as outside of our jurisdiction.
I think we've seen that a couple of times tonight where, even though there are other thoughts, we get the limitations to what the issue is in this particular case.
Yeah, my only concern was obviously the public safety. I absolutely agree. A boundary survey is a civil problem, not before us.
Having said that, Mr. Evans, just to pick up on something that you had said, is it your thinking that you'd like to amend Judge Bravo's motion to state that there is an obligation on the applicant to build it in such a way as to not interfere with anybody else's safety needs?
Not if it's not part of our purview and the fire department's not going to do that anyway. No, I would withdraw my statement on that. It's important to me.
Or perhaps just take it as a given that that's how they have to build it anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a question I had. Isn't it already done?
Yes.
It's already built.
Well, there you go.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent point, Judge. Excellent point. All right, so we have a motion on the tape. Sir, Larry, go ahead, sorry.
Give me my last breath here.
Some people have a light bulb, some people have a rheostat,
Going back to your concern about, emergency access and stuff like that. The only thing on the survey that we have in our package that was dated June 10th, 2025, the fence that's currently shown along that piece is on her property. There's no encroachment, so nothing here has caused any loss of access. I know there was numbers thrown around, I'm not going to quote them, but there's nothing that is encroaching on that south property line. So, so to me, that means it's a non-issue for me. You know, again, they can dispute property lines all they want, but at the end of the day, the only thing I'm looking at is the front, and nothing sticking out in the right-of-way. I have faith in our Department of, Traffic, that they've vetted it and they've looked at the site triangles to make sure that, that things are visibility and there's no blockage. So, I mean, I'm okay with it, so.
All right, we're going to call the question then, and we have a motion on the table to approve, and it has been seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
In opposition? It passes unanimously. And again, for those, Mr. Fritz, you have an opportunity to appeal it to the county commission. If you'd like, after the meeting, staff can tell you about that process. That is the end of our normal agenda. I'd like
We
to
have one more item.
What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, 14. Yes, that's 13. I'm sorry. Number 14.
She's been very patient this evening. Our last item on the agenda is 3088 Truman Boulevard. This is a request for east side yard street setback from 50 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence located in the Lincoln Heights subdivision. The property was cited with a code violation for construction of fence without a permit. The applicant now is come in to correct that with the building permit, and then it was found that the fence does not meet the front yard setback. It is 11 feet from the edge of pavement of Lincoln Avenue. There are no sidewalks on that side of Lincoln Avenue. And what's very curious about this is, if you can see from the zoning map, this platted subdivision with quarter-acre lots has an A1 zoning classification. And for me, that is something that this subdivision was probably platted, probably in the 1950s and 60s. And then when we assigned zoning, we assigned only the top part of this platted subdivision with A1 zoning. Therefore, creating a hardship for the applicant in the fact that she has to meet a 50-foot front yard setback, in which I can tell you none of the houses along that road meets a 50-foot front yard setback. Now, would she still be required to get a variance? Yes, but it would be from the 25 feet, not the 50 feet. Another thing to take in consideration is that you can see from the aerial, that side that she's asking for the variance dead ends. There is only one house that is accessing that point in which the sidewalk is located on that side of the street. And this concludes my presentation.
I'm going to be a busybody, and I apologize up front.
Yes.
She's seeking, what she is seeking is on Lincoln Avenue there on the west side of her parcel, correct?
Yes. I'm sorry.
If I take a look at our application, or what's in our packet, it describes it as being on the east side. Do we have a notice problem?
No, that was my fault.
And I will leave that to you guys, and maybe I should have sent an email or something. I'm catching you flat-footed. I would hate for us to do something to approve something for this nice lady that is improper through no fault of her own.
I would argue, yes, we do have a notice problem, because interested parties that are fronting Truman maybe would have wanted an opportunity to speak on that. And so I recommend pushing this to a date certain, entertaining it then. That's just my recommendation.
Does the board follow what we're talking
Agreed.
about? Mr. McHugh had a very good suggestion of continuing this to a date certain so this little issue can be fixed. Ma'am, the issue is, and we apologize, that the notice, it's nothing you've done, not your fault. The notice, the description of what you're asking for is inaccurate. And if we approved it and someone was mischievous and wanted to sue the county or sue you, it'd be overturned and we'd have to do it all over again. So this isn't saying no, we're just going to push it to next month, presuming the board votes that way. And I'm sorry we're doing that. It's all of us, we all missed that number. We're very sorry. So we're not saying no, and it's just, we're just going to continue it, and what you just saw, you'll have a big deja vu moment next month.
And we
that's-
will be certain to put you at the very top of the agenda, and I will contact the building department with the code violation, and I will let them know that I made a mistake and got my east and west mixed up. Is there? Oh, I'll take care of the code violation for you.
That'll be grounds for a continuance, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I will take care of that. Is it Ruth that you're dealing with? I got you. I got it.
Gentlemen, do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
So moved by the judge. Is there a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. See you next month. We are sorry to make you sit all night and then have that. I'm sorry. I should have said something earlier, because I've got it in my notes. My fault. I'm sorry. All right, so having said that, we are now done with our full official agenda, right? All right. Before we go to the minutes, I'd like to ask Mr. McHugh something. Again, I'm catching you flat-footed. This is my night for it.
Okay.
We have a text group where just every now and then we talk about, hey, let's go get dinner afterwards or something like that. After the last meeting, I had sent a text to the guys just saying, hey, I'm a dumb lawyer. We're used to rules. You know, there's a test for this, there's a test for that. Well, no test would ever be binding. We're stuck by the Land Development Code, Florida law. But just in my mind, this is kind of how I think about these things, not in reference to any particular applicant. And in my mind, that meant we were not in any way violating sunshine, because we're not discussing anything that would come before this board. But these doggone it are honest and ethical men over here. We said, you know, before we have this conversation further, let's maybe bounce it off the county attorney's office. And so out of respect to that concern, I'm sharing this thought.
So I think it's a slippery slope as conversations go. And I discourage that for that reason. Yes, I understand the Sunshine Law talks about items that may foreseeably come before the board, but, you know, that whole foreseeability thing is, you know, we don't have a crystal ball, and situations may evolve as such that there's no way that you could have known, and you could unwittingly get yourself in a sticky situation. So I discourage those channels of communication.
Here's what I'll do then. We'll consider that conversation terminated, and I will then take screen grabs of the entire conversation and forward them to your office, just in case someone makes a Freedom of Information Act. You have it handy, and we'll consider that resolved. Does that address y'all's concerns?
Include your browser history.
Hush. What do you think this is, a Coldplay concert? All right, so having said that, our last thing is the minutes. Is there a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from the vice chair. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second from Mr. Evans and Mr. Levant in harmony. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. This has been an interesting one.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
So I wonder where the Coldplay comment made.